I need to know how to fix LG dishwasher E1 error.
That typically means leakage error. I've seen the error code E1 come up with the drain pump isn't experiencing the back pressure it expects.
What do you expect to cause that?
The user manual says a water leak.
It isn't like I have water flooding onto the floor. If I did, I wouldn't be asking about the error code's meaning.
There is the possibility there is a water leak from some hose or connect.
That's a long list on a dishwasher.
It could also be a problem with the drain hose lacking the loop it is supposed to have to prevent siphoning.
I'd have to pull out the dishwasher to check that.
The issue could be because the rain hose is not looped up above the sink drain, so the issue is fixed by working up under the sink.
At least fixing that is something you can do yourself.
The problem could be with the drain pump itself, which is typically more than a do-it-yourself job.
That means hiring someone to replace the drain pump.
I can't rule out rust holding it in place or numbing stuck in the pump.
If it is rusting to the point it can't move as it should, it needs to be replaced, and I'd rather pay someone to take it apart to figure out if it needs to be cleaned than try to figure it out and risk a bigger mess in the process.
Or it is a wiring problem to the drain pump so it gets intermittent power.
At which point, I want a pro to look at it instead of risk a dishwasher fire.
Since it could be an electrical glitch, you could still turn it off and back on to see if it tries again.
And hope I don't flood the floor.
Or get a more specific error like CE, which means there is an error with the motor's operation.
And power cycling it gives you the PF error because it had a power failure error.
Hold down any button on the controls for 10 seconds to clear the error. If the E1 error comes back, then you can feel better about calling for service knowing you won't pay them $100 to power cycle your dishwasher.
Any other suggestions?
For some units, the E1 error means water inlet.
In that case, I'd need to make sure the water inlet valve isn't stuck.
That could be a mechanical valve failure or the electrical connection that opens it failing. Or the water supply to it is kinked.
Now we're back to checking all the hoses, since I paid my water bill.
The water supply issue can also be IE or 1E on an LG dishwasher. So before you start checking the hoses, make sure you verify the error so you're checking the right hoses.
If it was an inlet valve, I could run a pail of water through the water supply line to make sure that water supply isn't blocked.
And then you'd know what is to blame if there's a flood if it does its job too good or you clear the blockage preventing water flow in that process.